You're listening to Policing Talk, Episode 1, recorded Friday, October the 14th, 2016, and I'm delighted to be joined by Chief Inspector Kerry Blakeman as the very first guest, which is so fitting because it takes me back to February 2011 when I first met Kerry. I've lost count of the amount of platforms and the broadcasts we've done together over the years, which leads us to this exact moment, to the first episode of Policing Talk and Music. Welcome, Kerry.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for the invite.
Most welcome. So this is, just to repeat, this is the first episode of Policing Talk and Music. So we're both sitting here, which reminds me totally back to 5 years ago in February 2011. Do you have many memories of that?
Yeah, it was almost that kind of meeting you in the flesh, as it were, at Little Park Street Police Station in Coventry. And it was I think we'd connected, hadn't we, through social media. And we'd both recognised that there were opportunities, both in terms of the police service and for you as a local member of the public, trying to help the police and show us how we could use social media all that time ago to our benefit. And fast forward to today, and here we are. And there's a bit of a story between 5 years ago and now, isn't there, really?
Absolutely. I think from my point of view, for those people listening who don't know me, and that is that I was a primary school teacher for many years, and then I started a blog which was called What's in Kenilworth, which still runs today. And then out of nowhere, I got onto Twitter, and then I saw this police officer sat there doing something called TwitCam, and then I put a question in on Twitter, and then I was like, I wouldn't say obsessed by it, but I thought, public safety, this is exactly what this thing should be, used for.
Yeah, and it was that, having gone to numerous public meetings and talking to local residents, and it was great to see people there, but they weren't necessarily representative of the entire community. And that was what the first delicate steps into TwitCam. It was about trying to use digital social media to get more people involved in policing, to understand what issues were happening in their area. And it was great to see that actually in one of my first TwitCam video broadcasts, we'd actually got a young lad talking and asking questions about drug abuse in his local area. We'd have never have got that at a community meeting. So it was almost right at the very beginning, when I've got 25 viewers, to thinking, do you know what, this has got legs, and the rest is history. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Absolutely. So from your point of view then, so you're a police officer with West Midlands Police. Can you describe a normal day that you would do?
Yeah, I think some people seem to think that I'm sat behind my Twitter account 8 hours a day. I do actually have a day job, and I don't have any responsibility whatsoever for social media. Social media is a passion because I believe in what it can actually deliver. So for me, as a day job, I have a great job in West Midlands Police. I'm responsible for the policing at Birmingham Airport. So we're looking at making a safe and secure environment for the 10 million people that fly out of Birmingham Airport. So we've got a number of armed officers and unarmed officers that patrol the airport. Keeping on the transport theme, I look after the Safer Travel team, and that's a collaboration between West Midlands Police, British Transport Police and Transport for West Midlands. And we look to keep crime on the bus, train and tram network as low as possible, and we're also looking to increase passenger confidence. And last but not least, everybody's favourite talking point, I look after the speed cameras that cover the West Midlands area. So whether that be mobile speed cameras, the newly installed average speed cameras that we've got on trial, or all things motorway speed. So that's always a talking point.
Which is a good lead-in, actually, because you'll tell me the date, but Facebook Live started up, and I remember getting the alert for that, and it was on the first one, I think, was on patrol with a special Constable Lee Page.
That's correct.
I think I sent you a private note about this, and I will say this just to say, I think, was this the one, you can correct me, where you were in the car driving and the camera's like over your shoulder and you're having the most wonderful conversation about what's going on, and the comments went through the roof, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. We realised that we'd been through a journey from TwitCam through all the various platforms, whether it be Google Hangouts, Bambuza, that actually Facebook Live, I think, was long awaited and eagerly anticipated. And it was a case of, do you know what, let's just take the public out on patrol and see what a typical day looks like. And that's right, I was on patrol, and I think we were responding to a 999 call And it comes with its risks. I could have crashed the car. Somebody could have crashed into me. But actually, we realised that the public love what the police do, and they like to understand what goes on. So for me, it was an opportunity, and just it turned into a bit of an educational video, because whilst we were en route to this 999 call, we'd got cars in front of us that were acting erratically. So it gave me an opportunity to say, look, do you know what? If this is you in front of an emergency vehicle, just pull over to the near side, pull over safely. So yeah, it was really enjoyable. And as you say, the viewing figures and the comments went through the roof. So that was enough evidence for me that Facebook Live was here to stay.
And then going down memory lane here, which is quite recent, but this is audio, of course, but we're in a video call, so I'm going to hold my fingers up. I'm going to say number one was the one in the car patrolling. What was the second Facebook Live?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I know. I've blogged them all, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. So we've done that kind of general patrol. We've been to firearms. We've been to the dog section, and most recently we've been to forensics. So we've looked at behind the scenes there. The important thing is this is just about to show the public their police service, and that's what I'm a great advocate of. Trust, accountability, public service, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
And then to finish that loop off, have we got to expect more Facebook Live coming in the future?
Absolutely, and West Midlands Police absolutely recognise the value of those, and I think I'm delighted to say that it's not going to be me presenting one; it's going to be somebody else, which is absolutely great. It's great. So let's watch this space, and we'll keep it watching.
I've got a question about that a few minutes time. But I'll tell you what, let's have some music, and you've chosen 4 tracks, and I'm going to ask you about why you chose Genesis, Follow You, Follow Me.
Yeah, I think we all go back to our childhood and think about songs that are important to us. And my elder brother, who's probably about 5 years older than me, I remember listening to this track, and he was a big Phil Collins Genesis fan. And there was just something that struck a chord with me about this song, Follow You, Follow Me. So every time I hear it, I always think tune. And that's what it is. It's a great tune, and it brings back a lot of memories.
Okay, so moving on, let's talk about the Police Twitter Awards. Now, I struggle with this because we're talking about Police Tweet Awards and Police Twitter Awards, which are the same thing. How on earth did you get involved in all this?
Well, first things first, the Police Twitter Awards are the brainchild of Mike Kenworthy. And Mike has been a great advocate to the police service. He's a member of the public from London, and he recognises the value of police interaction on social media. He travels across the country, and he set them up with just like a little bit of a popularity contest, really, and invited members of the public to say, who's your favourite Twitter account? And last year he asked me to announce the winners, and I said, well, look, do you want me to use a video forum and to announce those winners? And that was when Blab was around. Blab is obviously no longer with us, but it just kind of in the back of my mind that there was an opportunity there to assist Mike. And Mike had got some close friends with Dennis Murray, a superintendent with Northamptonshire Police, Mike Pannett. And in effect, what I wanted to do was just to bring my experience to the table, along with Mike and Dennis, to actually think, do you know what, I think there's an opportunity here just to make this grow. And I was responsible for setting up the website, the dedicated Police Awards Twitter account, email, Facebook, etc., etc., and just try to promote the Police Tweet Awards. Now, some people might think, oh, what is this all about? Well, if we think about the journey, police officers don't necessarily tweet, when they're on duty. A lot of the time, if they're having conversations with the public or they're putting messages, it is out in their own time. And social media is a labour of love. It's not an 8 till 4 or a 9 till 5. It's there with you. And it's probably in recognition, trying to recognise some of those really good accounts that actually interact well with communities, listen, put interesting conversation or tweets out there, and there's an objective behind that tweet. So it was really that was the idea, to try and recognise, the best of the best. Great that it's taken off with over 4,400 nominations. I think that speaks volumes.
Absolutely, and we're down. What is it? Mid-October now, and the finals are 23rd of December, 16. And then I was looking at this 'cause I was doing some other work for it, and I think it was listed as the first Police Tweet Awards was 2011.
I believe that's the case, and again, that's down to Mike Kenworthy. That Mike is a member of the public. This isn't the police service saying, "Oh, look at us." This is a member of the public recognising the value of police and public social interaction to say, "Well, who do we think are the best ones?" Because there's some really good people out there that are doing it. And the finalists, the 16 categories, there are some really, really great accounts. And each of the finalists will be coming down to the award ceremony in December, and the overall winner will be announced. And we're delighted that Twitter have been supporting us, and I think that says a lot. And they've been supporting us with help and advice, and that really does say a lot about what the police awards are about.
Which is something I picked up on in that I have been doing a little bit self-appointed commentator, and I've put out a data sheet and then a quiz and various bits and bobs about it. One of the things that I saw going into when you were presented on video is that I think when you announced the award, you were on camera, I think, for about 45 minutes talking on you. What does it feel like to be on there that way?
Well, on this occasion, I hadn't actually got anybody behind the camera to actually say, "Do you know what? It's live." So the sign that I made, which I stuck to my dining room wall, was "The broadcast will start shortly." And that really was, so I could be behind the camera to check that the broadcast was going out. That was the first thing. And also, you're just giving yourself a couple of minutes where people are seeing the link and thinking, "Oh, do you know what? I'll tune in and I'll watch live." So I'd got a bit of a rough script, but basically I was sat there with my police shirt, tie, epaulets on, but I got my tracky bottoms on below, kind of thing. So, again, it was in Studio 2, it was in my dining room, and it was just a case of we've got some messaging that we want to get out there. We wanted to thank Raw Cut, we wanted to thank Police Oracle. I wanted to highlight, Alex's journey, a young boy who's struggling with an illness, and get those messages out, get the finalist details out, and just the views, the live views, and also the recorded thereafter views. I think it's about 5,300. I think that goes to show you just how the public have taken it on board and recognised the value of that police and public social interaction.
Shall we have another tune?
Yeah, let's go for it. Which one we going for now?
This is really good. Madness and Baggy Trousers. How did you arrive here?
Well, again, back to your childhood, really. Being at school and that ska era of the specials, the beat, madness, and I knew the words to Baggy Trousers off by heart. I don't know if I still do nowadays, but it is just a great song to just get yourself up on the dance floor and really enjoy. And it brings back yet another track that brings back many fond memories.
This track was also one of my favourite ones when I was growing up. The Electric Light Orchestra, Mr. Blue Sky, ELO. Have I got that right?
Yeah, ELO, just an absolute awesome band group. Jeff Lynne, Bev Bevan, back in the day. Again, a friend from school got me into ELO, all their albums. Yeah, albums when albums were albums. In fact, they're making a comeback nowadays, aren't they? And again, many fond memories of going to see ELO in concert. And, fast forward to 2016, having just seen ELO, Jeff Lynne's ELO in concert again. And it's just, the music doesn't age. And it's just a superb track. And I think it sparks a lot of emotion.
Part of making this show is to ask the guest choice of music. And one of the tracks that Kerry has chosen is, and Kerry's going to help me with this one, is Bad Boys. Tell me the story of what about this track and why you chose it.
So Bad Boys is by a group called Inner Circle. And when I talk about my digital policing social media experience, I talk about the product that is policing, and I always talk about the police of the public of the police, those original Pelian principles. And actually, before television or before documentaries, what exposure did the public get to what happens day in, day out in a policing world? And the answer to that, there's very, very little, unless you've been a victim of crime or you've been a witness. And cast your mind back, some people may remember it, to a program called Cops, and it was an American documentary which was filmmakers with cameras on their shoulders, following, cops over in America. And it's that classic, all suspects are innocent until proven guilty. And this was at the very beginning. This is I know it's a long intro, but the days of cable TV, when cable TV was first coming out before, Sky, and Cops was brought to me by cable. So real fond memories of watching Cops, of being a young lad, thinking about wanting to join the police. And then you kind of then fast forward a little bit and you come to such things as police camera action, those very early days of, we've got video recording from police vehicles. And that's the journey. So it's that Cops show is the very first exposure for me in terms of television being brought to the public to show the public what goes on in a 24/7, 365 environment, and of which the policing job is superb. I still love it 28 years on, and it means a lot.
All right, so hold on your hats, because this is a fast intro to Bad Boys. Moving on, we've got the at Kerry Blakeman Twitter account. There was something that I saw by accident the other day, like I always do, and it was a tweet from Kerry, and this is where we're going to fall out at the end of this podcast, and that is, I called it a folding bike. How do you call it, Kerry?
It's a Brompton.
Yeah, and then so Kerry put this tweet out about thanking Brompton, who make folding bikes. Am I allowed that? Yeah,
that's correct. Yes,
it's really interesting, because I've also bought a folding bike, and I got mine, I'm not going to lie, from eBay, and it's silver, and I absolutely love it. And for me, it's about almost like flying, like you're ice skating, but flying, because this little bike and these little wheels is extremely powerful, but it's a really weird experience coming off of a bigger bike. How do you find your Brompton?
Well, the reason I have a Brompton is that because I've got a number of areas of business that are spread across the West Midlands, I use my Brompton to commute, both on the bus and the train, to get across the West Midlands area. So for me, it's an ideal way. I don't have to take the car into Birmingham, so I'm keeping myself healthy, I'm keeping myself fit, and I'm using public transport, and I'm being responsible for public transport. I'm seeing day in, day out what's going on that kind of a public transport network. So it's so convenient. I can fold my bike up, it's got a bag on it, and I can literally pull it along like a suitcase, and it's just great. I get the mick taken out of me a little bit by a few people, but do you know what? It's great. It really suits me. And there's a lot of people with Bromptons nowadays. You only have to look in London in everything that's going on with the congestion charge and see how popular they are. And, fair play to West Midlands Police. They're part of the Cycle to Work scheme. And again, I pay for the bike directly through my pay packet, and it's just encouraging. It's encouraging me to be healthy. It's encouraging me to get out there on the public transport network. And it's great. I really like it.
And I think the tweet you need to look out for, if you're listening to this, is the one where, I think, paraphrasing, Kerry's put out a tweet with a photo, and it's got the Brompton in front of Aston Hall.
That's correct. Yeah, I was literally. Yeah.
There's something like I'm in between meetings, but for me, I took out. I'm recording my voice on a Zoom H1 microphone, and I took the microphone out for this policing talk, and I photographed it in about half a dozen different places. Like, would this be a good situation or a location for a podcast? And I think that's the beauty of Twitter, isn't it? It provides tiny moments in your day to broadcast out to everybody.
Yeah, indeed. And being on a bike instead of being in a car, you see different aspects of where you live and work. So I'd cycled through Aston Park, I'd got Aston Hall. I use the canal network in Birmingham to get through from Aston to central Birmingham. It's just a different way of seeing a different part of the city and keeping myself healthy.
Great. Shall we stop it there and finish it? So this has been episode number 1 of Policing Talk and Music. And please, this is a new idea, and I was so delighted to have at Kerry Blakeman, Chief Inspector Kerry Blakeman, as the first guest, because it, for me, just sums up, over the last 5 years of history together. Thank you, Kerry.
Well, thank you, Mike. I'm really grateful that I'm the first. And also, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank you. You've been a great supporter to the police service over the last 5 years with all of your advice and skills and wisdom. So thank you very much. And I look forward to listening to podcast number 2.